Happy Vlogmas day 2. Today we are doing a bake with me. We're gonna bake some chocolate chip cookies, the ones out of the package, not from scratch. I can bake from scratch, but that's so much work. Maybe in another video, but not today. We are using the Betty Crocker chocolate chip cookie mix. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna chat a little bit, really listen to me ramble about a bunch of random things. If you're interested in this video, please keep on watching. Okay, so I already have the ingredients that I need out, but on the package it says 1 stick of butter and 1 egg. So I have the 1 egg and the 1 stick of butter. This is technically 2, but how they came, it's like this isn't a full stick, so it takes 2 of them, but I never 100% follow the packages anyway. Even like if I get like a cake mix like this, if I'm not baking cake from scratch, I don't exactly follow it. I always add more butter. So this is 1 stick, and then I have a little bit left from another one, so I'm gonna use all that butter because I like my cookies to be extra buttery. So let's go ahead and put everything inside of the mixing bowl. Do you want to go out? 1 second. Okay, I'm back. My dog wanted to go outside. Ooh, not me spilling it. So I wanted to also, while we're baking, talk about the stress from like the holiday season and how important it is to make sure that you're also taking time for yourself during the holiday season, especially because, you know, the holidays are about being with your family and you know, being present with them. But so Thanksgiving just passed, and if you watched my last vlog, then you saw like how overwhelmed I was the next day and like how I was feeling the next day. And that's the worst feeling ever, because you're with your family, you're trying to enjoy spending time with your family, but it can get overwhelming. I melted the butter down a little bit and I'll put that in there. But so I was extremely overwhelmed, just like with the different energies and trying to be present, you know, with my family, but emotionally, physically, mentally exhausted the next day and like the couple days after. So that just reminds me, like, I have to make sure that while it is the holiday season, like Christmas is coming up, or Hanukkah, I think it's Hanukkah, I'm sorry if I'm got the wrong holiday, but you know, holidays are coming up, more holidays are coming up, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed with being around your family. So it's very important that like in between holidays, or even like on the day that you're with your family, taking a moment to like step away and have a moment for yourself to regroup, I think could really help with the like emotional overload, which is something I didn't do on Thanksgiving. I just stayed like with everybody the entire time, and that's probably why I was so drained like the following days after. So when Christmas comes up, I'm gonna make sure that I take a minute to like separate myself from everybody, give myself a few minutes, and like regroup. maybe it's 5 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe an hour. Like it, at the time will depend on, like, you know, how I'm feeling, but just generally taking that time for yourself is extremely important, because if you don't, you can become overstimulated, and maybe like the day of you don't feel it like the same. I didn't feel it the day of. I didn't feel it until the next day, and then like 3 days after Thanksgiving happened. Maybe that's how it happens for you, but just to try to kind of avoid that, taking time for yourself could be vital to your mental health. And even though it's holiday season and we're supposed to be, you know, fun spirited around family, it's still important to take that time for yourself. Okay, so let's mix it up. Okay, so I just took it off of the mixer, but my mixer, I don't have the one that the bowl like moves up and down, so sometimes it doesn't mix like all the way at the bottom. So I'm just going to take this spatula and like scoop everything off of this thing, and then mix it just one more time with the spatula to make sure like everything's nice and mixed. I really enjoy baking. Like I don't know, it gives me like peace. It's like kind of like therapy for me. Even though I'm no like expert in baking, I do not know, like I don't have my own recipes and like, you know, all of that, but doing it makes me really happy. And I have thought about doing it more often as like a hobby, but baking takes a lot of time and effort. Like there's no cheating when it comes to baking, so that's the only thing that's like, do I really want to commit myself to that? But also I love it so much that it's like, why not do it? Anyway, this is what the mix looks like. I'm gonna get the baking sheet. I'm using parchment paper. The only thing about parchment paper I hate that it burns in the oven. Like it's for baking, why does it burn? Okay, so I use an ice cream scooper to get like it's not necessarily perfect size, but equal size cookies. Scoop it and place it on there 2 inches apart. What is 2 inches? I don't know. I eyeball it honestly. Yeah, so I'm just gonna scoop these on here. For Thanksgiving, I made pumpkin pie cupcakes with cream cheese frosting and thank you, with cream cheese frosting and pie crust toppers. And this lady that was here said that she was a baker, and she was watching me the entire time that I was baking, and you know, just I guess wanted to see what I was doing. But she tells me after the fact, like after the cupcakes are all done and people are eating them, she pulls me aside and she tells me that the entire time that I was making the cupcakes, she thought I was literally messing everything up. Like, she was like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like my batter was too wet. This was wrong. That like I was gonna overcook my cupcakes because I was making like little baby mini ones. And she was really like insulting me the entire time in her mind. Every step, like I was doing it completely wrong. Okay, hold on. So this is what they look like. Now I'm just gonna put them in the oven. Ow, guys, I just burned my finger. Okay. Okay, I still have a little bit of batter left, so I'm going to use this muffin pan and put them in here and make like little cookie cups to put like scoop ice cream in. Hopefully it works, because I've tried this before and I didn't use enough cookie batter, so they didn't rise enough to like scoop ice cream into. But anyways, back to my story. She was insulting me the whole time and was telling me that I was doing everything wrong, until she tried one and she was like, oh my gosh, when I took the first bite it was so good, and then I took the second bite and I was like, oh wow, like she knows exactly what she's doing. And then she like started complimenting me and telling me like, oh, like you have such a gift and you should bake and like make money from it, sell it because they're like really that good, and all this stuff. And I was just like, now you want to compliment me after you just spent 15 minutes insulting my baking skills? Like the whole time you're thinking to yourself, this girl is crazy, she has no idea what she's doing, and now you're telling me like, oh my gosh, you should open a bakery. Like, that was the funniest thing to me ever. But yeah, so moral of the story, she should have tried my cupcakes before she started judging me. And if they would have came out nasty, then she could have told me like, hey, this is what you did wrong, I was watching you the whole time. And you know, then what she had to say would have been valid. But not insulting me and then trying to compliment me right after. And the funniest thing about the entire thing is, one, I very rarely bake without being asked to do it. Like right now I'm doing it for like this, but just like generally I don't just bake just to bake, and I have to be asked. So like a birthday or like some type of like holiday or something is the only time that I bake. And I was only baking these cupcakes because my aunt and my uncle asked me if I was baking them this year, because I usually bake those cupcakes every year for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. So that was the only reason why I was making them. I have baked those same exact cupcakes countless times now. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. So it was funny that she like made it up in her mind that I was totally lost when I've made those cupcakes a million times. But she should not have judged me before trying them. That will teach her, don't judge a book by its cover. Now, if she was watching me bake these cookies and she has something to say, then I'll be like, okay, because these little cookie cups that I'm trying to do, I don't know nothing about this. I'm just experimenting. Oh, that's not enough. Okay. So let's see how this comes out. Anybody else love eating cookie dough and like cake mix? I love it. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not touching anything with my fingers that I just licked, but let's put these in. Let me show you what they look like. So this is what they look like. Hopefully they bake right. And I put those cookies too close together, but it's too late now. That's what I get for trying to squeeze all of those cookies on that cookie sheet. But I'm going to wash everything that I just used, and then I'll be back. Wait. Before I wash this stuff, I scooped like a tiny bit of cookie batter on the side so I could eat it. It's so good. It's nice and buttery because I put the extra butter in there. Oh my gosh, so good. I could just sit and eat the cookie dough. Okay, let me wash and then I'll be back. I just finished washing everything, waiting for the cookies to come out of the oven, and then we'll do a taste test. Hopefully they're good. Also, when you're baking, just how I said, like, there's no shortcuts to baking. There are also very specific measurements that you're supposed to do things. So how the package says 1 stick of butter, you're only supposed to use 1 stick of butter. But I put the extra butter in there. Putting the extra butter in there affects how they will bake. So I know that doing it, like I knew that, but just like a tip, even though I'm not an expert baker, so this is not expert advice, but just when you tweak or add or play around with recipes, they're done. With recipes, just keep that in mind. Like, adding things or taking things out affects how something will bake. Baking is completely different from cooking. They're not the same. Okay, let's see. That parchment paper burns everything. Okay, hold on. Let me put you guys here, and then I'm gonna take them out. Let's see how they look. First of all, I put them way too close together. Okay. Then the freaking parchment paper burns literally everything. I don't understand. How is it for baking and it still burns everything? I'm gonna let them cool for a second, and then I'm gonna take them off and put them on a plate. Okay, so while they're still extremely hot, I like separated them because they're stuck together, because my genius self decided to stuff more cookies on there than what was supposed to, and so they were too close together when they baked, and then they spread out. So I'm waiting for them to cool down, and then I'm gonna put them on the plate, and then we'll taste them. But also, when you're baking, any baker that watches this video is going to cringe the entire time. I'm sorry, but do not open the oven when you're baking. Oh my gosh, that is the worst thing, because the heat escapes and then that messes with how it bakes too. Like, don't do that, because I just did it twice. Granted, I had no choice because I put 2 things in there, but I should have waited for the first cookies to bake and then put the other thing in there so they could like bake separately. But yeah, anyway, just remember I said I'm not an expert baker. Don't be like me. don't listen to me for, you know, perfect baking advice, because I'm not an expert baker. There are things that I know, like that I'm sharing. Those things I know from trial and error and watching baking shows and cooking shows and all of that. But okay, so I put them all on a plate, but one of them broke when I was picking it up, so that's the one we're gonna try. That's good. It's so soft. The extra butter. Good call. So good. It's so yummy. Okay. I'm just gonna eat this one cookie and then I'm not gonna eat anymore. I wish you guys could try them. They're so good. Honestly, I could use more butter. They're nice and buttery and like soft but crunch, like a little crunchy. But more butter would not have hurt, honestly. But they're really good. Okay. Waiting for the little cookie cups to come out. I'll show you guys those when those come out too. Okay, so I just took out the little cookie cups. This is how they came out. I'm not sure. I might have baked it for too long because honestly, I forgot that it was in there. They're very soft, so it's not like they're too hard. It's just, I don't know. And I won't know until I taste it, but I'm not gonna eat that right now because I don't want ice cream. So this is to eat with ice cream. So thank you for baking with me and listening to me ramble about a bunch of random things, because that's how my brain works. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in my next video.